Round 4, race 2. Only 5 races left in the F4 UAE Championship 2024, and this title fight is just flying by. But now we come to our 4th reverse grid race of the season. Don't forget that in the F4 UAE Championship, it's the top 12 finishers from race 1 that are flip reversed. So whoever finished 12th in the opening race of the weekend now gets to start from pole position. We've already seen some nail-biting encounters from the drivers in the first 3 rounds, where sometimes it's gone well, sometimes not so much. But as we get to the business end of the title fight, all sorts of variables could be thrown into the mix. So, who's going to triumph? Who's going to flounder? With only 6 races left of the season and only 2 points between the leaders, you can expect the battles to be relentless in Marina as the F4 UAE Championship rocks into town for the 3rd and final time in 2024. The Mumbai Falcons are still the team to beat, as Freddie Slater holds the advantage despite all 3 of his teammates taking silverware last weekend, with Alex Powell grabbing his maiden win, Nakamura Berta getting back in the title fight, and Dion Gouda finally back near the front where he belongs. Back on home soil, the Yazid Academy should be fairly close to the top end, once more with Keanu El-Azhari now just 2 points away from the championship lead. His teammate Zach Scholar was robbed in Dubai of massive results. He'll be hoping to put that right in Abu Dhabi. PHM AIX could struggle from this moment onwards, as Nikita Bedrin has departed for Europe. That means that the rising stars Max Popov, Everett Stack and Kamal Murad will now be joined by another Italian star, Davide Larini, son of ex-Ferrari F1 test driver Nicola. Prema is continuing to perform strongly with Rashid Al-Daheri and Dorian Pain, despite neither driver scoring as many points as they deserved to in Dubai. But they'll now have competition from a new teammate, Latvia's karting sensation Thomas Stolchamanis, who could be at the front immediately. The British quartet from High-Tech Pulse 8 also had a tough weekend at round 3, with Deegan Fairclough unable to score and Gabriel Stilp and Reza Suwerthan robbed of top 10 results. Sebastian Murray managed to grab his first points, so this could be a better weekend all round for the 4 men. Over at the Aussie squad AGI Sport, there's plenty of positivity. Jack Beaton has come off the back of his 2nd podium, and this time he gained positions rather than lost them. Nicholas Starty is also gaining both confidence and pace, so this could even be a push to the top 5 in the team's first campaign. Santalox seem to have unbelievable speed, but no fortune at all. Matteo Quintarelli and Yvan David have proved to be good enough to get the podium, so if qualifying goes well, that'll be the game changer, with Colombian Maxi Restrepo ever closer to consistent top 10 pace. So where's Jules Caranta gone, you may ask? Well, he's returned to his original berth at Race GP, where his former teammates Enzo Ye and Lucas Amalisto still reside. But after Enzo Deligny's terrific speed in Dubai, there's now going to be a power play for who will be the quickest Race GP driver from now on. Normal service will be resumed as usual at XL Motorsport, as Liu Kai-shun returns to the official team beside Thiago Rodriguez, who narrowly missed out on a top 5 finish, Alves Rodella, who couldn't convert a reverse grid pole, and Chu Yanpu, who could be a podium scorer if qualifying improves. Finally, the Pinnacle Motorsport team now have more strength in numbers, as the dynamic duo of Kai Daryanani and Fu Yuhao are now joined by a talented Japanese warrior, Hiyoyama Koshi, who has a reputation of outperforming his own budget constraints. So this could be a strong debut. So far in 2024, the headlines have been about Freddie Slater and Keanu El-Azhari and their close rivalry. But there is a third man in the equation, Nakamura Berta. You made some very impressive moves in Dubai and you got some very valuable points on the board. I guess this is still very much game on for you in 3rd place.
I think, yeah, we're still there in the championship. This championship was like, for me, was just sort of like experience, trying to catch up the mileage compared to some of the other competitors which are racing the main season. But having myself there in 3rd place and only like 20 points behind, I still feel like if we do well in the next 2 rounds, I think we can still be there for the championship. And depending on how this round goes, the outcome might be decided like this weekend, depending like if we do well or if we're a bit too far behind. But main objective is just to learn as much as I can, but of course taking the championship home would be a very nice way to end the UAE season.
I mean, when you came into this category at the beginning of the year, you hadn't yet started an F4 race, a car race at all. So to come in and win on your debut, I mean, what an amazing opportunity that must have been.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, I wasn't expecting so much in the first race. Like, starting 2nd, yeah, I was hoping I could get maybe a podium, but taking the win was an amazing feeling.
So what has that done for you now in terms of how you're approaching 2024? You've obviously said this is going to be a learning year, but now you know you can win. Has that changed the approach a little bit?
I mean, it was. I think it's still the same objective, and just this UAE championship, just learning as much as I can. It's just the main objective, and then just, I don't know, taking championship, of course, is good, but just learning, trying to catch up to the others is the main objective.
I guess the thirst for glory has just got a little bit bigger now, though.
Yeah, of course.
So we've got a few races left in the season. Obviously, Dubai, you were very strong. You were very strong here as well. There is a big deficit to try and catch up to the other two in front. How confident are you that you can still be a factor by the time we get to Dubai?
I think in the start before the Dubai race round, I was much further behind and I ended it. So I think that, I mean, as long as I can, if I win and be in front of the other championship rivals, I think we can still close that gap up. So I'm still positive. Like finishing top 3 even in the championship is not a bad way to start 2024 year. So I'll just give it my all and we'll just have to see.
And it's funny, you know, you and Freddie Slater have been on the kart circuits in the UK and then in Europe together, and now here you are in F4. It's almost as if your careers are almost joined at the hip. It's going to be a race to see who gets to F1 first.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So obviously you've been working very closely with the Alpine Academy. Just how big a difference has that made to your preparation as a race driver? What has that changed in you as a competitor?
I think they do a really good job, just like physical side, and obviously you've got more supporters like watching your races. They also help to improve you, as like they'll try to improve your racings. They'll watch like the top people in the academies. They watch your races and see what you could have done better. It also gives you like a sort of professional side. You have to attack every weekend. Like these academies and the programs, they just want to see improvement. So as long as you show a good learning curve, they're happy. So it just keeps you motivated, really, to just keep learning every single race.
And you're one of the true international drivers out there. You obviously have roots in London where you live in Great Britain, but you have Japanese heritage, you have Eastern European heritage. There's a lot of people banking for you.
And yeah, I've got family in both Slovakia and Japan, and like it's really good to have so many people, so many supporters, and it just gives you a bit more confidence, I would say. And you also want to achieve and get a result for them, which is really good.
Well, we wish you all the best for the rest of the season, and hopefully you can really make this a proper close fight between 3 drivers, not 2. So we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Jake.
What a difference a day makes. It's amazing how things suddenly transform and turn around in the F4 UAE Championship, and today is absolutely no exception. Last night, we left you the new headline, and he had taken the lead of the championship. Just a few hours after that, it was discovered that Nakamura Berta had jumped the start of race 1 and was given a 5-second penalty. Therefore, the win, is declared and given to Dorian Pan, the sole lady driver in the field, was given the victory last night, and after having got pole position and fastest lap to get the race win as well, a very justified result. So anybody who still believes that, well, these women can't really compete with the men on an equal level, well, 1 woman in yesterday's race and 33 men, and she beat them all. So that should be just about the close of that argument, I think. Dorian Pan, Rashid Al-Daheri and Alex Powell were the podium finishers yesterday. And so now they will start from 10th, 11th and 12th on the starting grid. Nakamura Berta demoted by the penalty to 5th position. He still gained a decent chunk of points compared to the championship leaders, Keanu Alazari and Freddie Slater, who ended up tangling with each other on the run to the first corner and out of the race on the spot. No penalty given to either driver. It was deemed to be a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other incident, a racing incident as it were. And so the drivers now basically have already penalised themselves, as it were, and it's time for them to go racing in fantastic fashion. We're going to see a really exciting battle, none the least because you're going to see rain in the desert. An absolutely astonishing situation here. Driving to the circuit this morning was a bit like a rally stage, would you believe, as I cannot really quite understand or explain what's going on here. I never would have thought I'd ever see rain showers at the Marina circuit, but that's exactly what I've seen. I might pop back to my local newsagent when I arrive in the United Kingdom and buy a lottery ticket, because based on what I'm seeing today, I've got a good chance of winning it. It is absolutely incredible to consider what we are seeing in front of us here. Rain for the start. It is still currently raining. It's not heavy, but there is expected to be more rain at about midday. So it's going to be a damp start for this one. Race will start behind the safety car. We thought there was a potential chance of it, and now it is going to be confirmed. Now, obviously, that is for various different reasons. One of the least because the race that we had earlier on in the Clio Cup Middle East had an incident on the opening lap, and then a safety car, and then an incident on the lap that we went back under race conditions, which went straight to red flag. And as you can see for yourself there are spots of rain falling off the umbrella, so it's not exactly as if the rain has stopped. You can see it for yourself that it is raining. And these wet tyres have not had a massive amount of running, the GT tyres. Anybody who competed in the F4 Southeast Asia Championship towards the tail end of 2023 will know what these tyres are like. And there's only a handful of drivers that have done that. One of them, of course, is Dorian Pain, who won the race yesterday after a fabulous battle in which she claimed pole position, fastest lap and the race win, despite crossing the line in second position behind Nakamura Berta. But she inherited the win after he got a jump start penalty. So one of the drivers is going to be very exciting. So now, for the rest of the races we've got here, it's going to be particularly exciting. Enzo Ye is the man who will start from pole position on the reverse grid draw, having finished 12th in yesterday's race. So Enzo Ye for the Race GP team will now line up on the front of the grid alongside Reza Sawerthan, the young man from Bournemouth in the high-tech Pulse 8 car. He's just ahead of his teammate, the Scotsman Sebastian Murray, who is in third position on the grid. And then the fourth place driver, one of the favourites for this one, has got to be the Frenchman Jules Caranta, who is still in his rookie season of F4 UAE, but has certainly pulled off some great performances in the past. Matteo Quintarelli lines up fifth position on the starting grid for this one. He could be a good shout for a top position. And then in sixth place on the grid, it is Gabriel Stilp, who lines up on the third row. And then Dion Gauda will line up in seventh position of the grid alongside Nakamura Berta, who claimed the win on the road yesterday, but was only able to secure fifth position after a jump start penalty. That means he is now currently only 12 points back from the championship leader, Freddie Slater, and 10 behind Keanu El-Azari. So it is still very much a three-way championship fight coming into the final 5 races of the season. Ninth position on the grid, Enzo De Ligny, and then Alex Powell lines up P10. 11th on the grid is Rashid Al-Daheri, and then that lady there, Dorian Pain, who took the win in yesterday's race, is going to start from 12th on the grid. But as one of the few drivers in this field that has knowledge of these GT tyres in F4 UAE trim, she is definitely going to be one to watch for in this race. Alves Rodella lines up 13th on the starting grid alongside Jack Beaton. Then Kamal Murad beside Yvan David. Watch for him. He is mighty in the wet, so he could be very strong indeed. Rafael Narak, who had a last-minute change of heart, was going to go back to Europe and then decided last minute he was going to take the fourth and final seat at Santalok Racing. So essentially, he and Jules Caranta have swapped seats for this race. Lucas Samalisto is going to be in 18th on the grid for the Race GP team. Davide Larini will be alongside Chuyan Pu as we look at Jack Beaton, the Australian, for the AGI Sport team. Then Nicolas Stati alongside Tiago Rodriguez. Kai Darianani and Luca Shun are going to be together on the 12th row of the grid. Thomas Stolchamanis, the new boy from Latvia, lines up alongside Fu Yuhao. And then Everett Stack, Max Popov, Zach Skula, Maxi Restrepo. And then we have 4 drivers who really won't be staying at the back of the grid as far as they're concerned. Deegan Fairclough, who had problems in race 1. Hugh Yamakoshi, who actually had a 3-grid drop from yesterday's race, so should be starting. What is the point? There's no standing water, wet tyres, drive to the conditions. I'm seeing a lot of your comments about this, but you have to take into consideration that these guys have not really driven on the wet tyres in the UAE before. It's never happened up until this point in 2024 for most of these drivers, and they are as young as 15. Now, you have to take these things into consideration because obviously there are going to be quite a few variables that come into this particular encounter, and I would have to say that it is better to be cautious rather than speculative. A lot of people in the past have made these decisions and essentially said, well, let's just see what happens. I guarantee you that is the wrong move, because in those situations you excite, obviously, and you titillate your viewers, but as far as the driver's safety is concerned and the safety of those around, you put that at risk. And if there is even 1% iota of doubt, you should go with the safest course of action. And I'm afraid if you don't like it, if you don't like the fact that there's a safety car start under wet conditions, well, then perhaps motor racing isn't the sport for you. These guys are incredibly exciting and amazing athletic competitors. They want to go racing, but they also want to make sure they go. Yes, it is damp rather than soaking saturated wet. The decision was taken when the rain was a bit heavier than this, and these guys are 15, 16, 17 years old. I'd quite like to see them in Formula One someday. So would you. Give them the chance to get there. Don't put them at risk just because you want to see some carnage. These guys are very, very talented, but they do obviously need our support. Better safe than sorry, says Bentley RM, and I absolutely agree. You're still going to get to see some great motor racing because there's only a few parts of the circuit where there's actual puddles of water saturated. And somebody actually said to me before we went started, this is going to be interesting when they go under the W Hotel, because isn't that going to be fairly dry? Well, no, I actually went and had a look at it this morning. The W Hotel, whilst it looks like it's a complete covered section of the course, in fact, there are actual gaps between each of the panels of glass that cover that particular awning, and essentially that means the rain gets through, so it does actually fall onto the circuit. So it's not going to be particularly difficult at the W Hotel. I think the circuit is going to be just as saturated as it is a lot of parts around the course. So it's a difficult situation. And Barry Bray has actually pointed out they must have done a lot of karting in the wet. Well, yes, they have, but karting is very different to car racing. Don't forget that in these cars, you basically double the speed. Yes, of course, you increase the protection, but you still double the speed. And as Jeremy Clarkson once said, speed has never hurt anybody. Suddenly stopping, that's what gets you. And that likelihood increases in these conditions. So you have to take these things into consideration. So we are going to start the race under safety car. The second that safety car starts moving, we will be essentially in race conditions. 28 minutes plus 1 lap. And so the green light goes and the time starts ticking. So we are under starter's orders any moment now, essentially. The green light comes on. I thought that was going to be the cue for us to move forward, but I think we've got a few more seconds before that. But once the safety car sets off, Enzo Ye and Reza Suwerthan are going to be behind the safety car at the start of the race. That is exactly what will occur. So we are going to be at first position, so it's going to be a really exciting situation. So off we go, and we are now racing, technically speaking. So the drivers are having an exciting performance now. We're going to have a really exciting race once we do get started. Essentially, there were some issues prior to the race because of the rain. They have now been sorted. So we're under race conditions behind the safety car. And look, that's why we're under safety car conditions. The spray is actually fairly heavy at this point. That's comparable to what you see in Formula One in similar circumstances. So those people looking at the start-finish straight going, well, there's not that much standing water. Check out the spray. Would you want to put your 15, 16, 17-year-old offspring into that without any consideration for safety? No, I wouldn't. And I have got a 15-year-old offspring. And if that was her going around the circuit at full pelt, I would like the officials to take their safety into consideration. Thank you very much. That's exactly what we've done. So, Enzo Ye leading around. Reza Suwerthan, second position. Sebastian Murray is currently third. Jules Caranta, Matteo Quintarelli, Gabriel Stilp and Dion Gauda. Then Kian Nakamura Berta, Enzo Deligny 9th, Alex Powell in 10th position and looking at the final point at the moment. 11th is Rashid Al-Daheri. 12th is Dorian Pain, who took the win in yesterday's race after the penalty was handed to Kian Nakamura Berta that dropped him to 5th. And that is a stopped-out car on the circuit. That is Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian. So I wonder if his car is still not quite right after the incident he had yesterday, because he obviously almost went over and rolled the car when he had a little bit of a coming together at the tail end of the race that brought out the safety car that we ended under. So I wonder if Maxi Restrepo's car is still not quite right after that, because it was a very violent-looking two-wheeled rodeo that he went on, almost rolled it at exactly the same place that Nico Hülkenberg rolled his Haas a few years ago. Apologies, no, he rolled the Renault, didn't he? Goodness me, I haven't been watching Drive to Survive closely enough. Anyway, Enzo Ye, Reza Suerden, Sebastian Murray, that's your top 3 at the moment. That probably will change once we actually get to race conditions. I would estimate, based on what conversations we had earlier, that race control are going to keep the safety car out for 2 laps, and then we're going to go racing. So we're currently on the first of those. So it's going to be an interesting situation once we do go racing, but obviously it will be a tricky situation. So there is Maxi Restrepo getting out of the car, or trying to get out of the car. The problem is he's actually slightly rolling, so he manages to get the car stopped then to put the steering wheel back in. So it's going to be a really interesting situation. As Ken Heathcote points out, the strobing brake lights makes it worse because it's very difficult to see through the spray. So yeah, it is a very difficult situation. You have to make sure that you've got a little bit of you need to make sure you've got a little bit of clear vision. That shows you just how tricky it is. Those are the rain lights that come on. You've got one on each corner of the rear wing and one at the diffuser. Question coming in from Andrew Stables: is it actually raining or is it standing water? It's both. It's not particularly heavy rain at the moment. There is still some rain around. I was actually in the middle of it when I came to the commentary box, and I can look out. You can see for yourself on the camera lens that it is still raining. It's not particularly heavy at the moment, but starting the race under safety car was absolutely the right decision. There's a lot of spray at various points on the course, and if it was any other category of single-seater, perhaps from Formula Regional upwards, you might have said, well, they probably could have started on the grid. But when it's F4 and some of these guys are still learning how to drive a racing car, never mind race a racing car, I think it's very sensible that you give these guys just a little bit of grace. So continuing on the way, it's now going to get to see how things are. This is an interesting new phenomenon, of course, in the United Arab Emirates. You don't get a massive amount of rainfall traditionally, but I was reading about this when we had rain during the Dubai 24 Hours weekend. I was a bit confused as to how it can suddenly be raining. And as Ludro Alvarado points out, it's probably cloud seeding. He's got a good point, because cloud seeding is something that happens here in the United Arab Emirates. Basically, you fire salts and iodine crystals into the air, and there's a chemical reaction, and it increases rainfall. And they do that, obviously, to increase the green plant life and the trees that are here in the United Arab Emirates, trying to make the place a little bit more eco-friendly. And it has increased the annual rainfall, doing so by 30 to 35%. So that's the reason why they do it. But obviously, sometimes calculation happens during a race weekend, and well, the F4 UAE drivers are in unfamiliar territory. When was the last time you ever saw a very wet Yas Marina circuit? Because I certainly haven't seen it before today. Nick Meister wants to know who is the youngest racer here. I'm afraid I can't tell you that for accuracy, but I'm fairly sure that Kian Nakamura Berta could well be. He's only just recently turned 15, so he might be the youngest on the grid. I could be wrong on that one, and I'm sure somebody's going to correct me. But fantastic stuff. So a sensational battle is going to happen when we go racing. But Enzo Ye is going to be in the position to lead the race off. Reza Suerden in second position. He'll be used to wet conditions, certainly not in the United Arab Emirates, though. Sebastian Murray will be third, Jules Caranta fourth, Quintarelli, Stilp, Gauda, Nakamura Berta and Enzo Deligny. Now, Safety car appears to be pulling clear of Enzo Ye to a certain degree. If those lights go out, we're going to be racing on lap 3. And they're not out yet. So they clearly feel it's just a little bit too wet just yet to send the drivers out. Now, they're not going to wait for the conditions to improve, I don't think, but what they will do is wait for the drivers to get used to the situation. You've got to remember, they've got radio to their mechanics and engineers on the pit wall, so they'll be able to tell their engineers, you know, what the conditions are like. Is it actually good enough to go racing or not? They'll take those notes into consideration. They'll be in touch with race control. They'll let them know what the situation is. The safety car will obviously be reporting back to race control as well. There is an entire procedure here, and you have to make sure that there is a majority, essentially, of people that can go racing. But looking at how much spray there is on the main straight, I mean, it's debatable at the moment, isn't it? That's tough. That's really tough. It's kind of touch and go at the moment as to whether you would start this race. If it was Formula One, then yes, I think you would be quite nonsensical if you kept it going, because they're Formula One drivers by that point. They've got plenty of experience. In my opinion, they don't even need tyre blankets. They need to go racing. But these are F4 drivers between the ages of 15 and 21, pretty much. So they are still young'uns. They are still learning their racecraft. And we've had far too many lessons in the last few years. I'm not going to mention names, but I think you all know who we're talking about, to know that this is not the kind of risk you take. So Enzo Ye leading from Reza Suwerven, Sebastian Murray, Gilles Caranta and Matteo Quintarelli. We're under lap 3 under safety car, as we have started under safety car based on the fact that it is wet conditions at the moment in Yas Marina. As you can see for yourself, there is a lot of spray, and you need to make sure that the drivers are prepared for what's coming. So it'll be a very tricky one at the moment. Now, obviously, there are several options that are available to the competitors at this moment, to race control at the moment, I should say. They can keep them going a couple more laps to hope that they can get some racing in. They can red flag it to see if they can remove some of the surface water, but obviously it's still raining at the moment, so what is that actually going to do? There are other races on the schedule as well, don't forget, so you have to keep that in consideration as well. There's a lot of factors here. So what is going to be the best course of action? Well, that's up to race control. Gabriel Stilt wants to go racing by the look of it, as he is there behind Matteo Quintarelli. So we come to the end of the 3rd lap. I know the original plan was to be out there for 2 laps and then go racing, but obviously there's a lot more standing water on the circuit than first thought. And the previous race to this one this morning was the Clio Cup Middle East race. They had 1 lap under green, and then they went safety car immediately for an incident. Then they were under safety car for about 10 minutes. They went racing again, and then there was another incident that brought out the red flag. So it is very touch and go at the moment. Well, what would this mean in terms of the championship? Well, if we get to the end of full race distance, then obviously full points will be rewarded, and that means that Enzo Ye could pick up 25 points for the win here. Reza Suwerven could pick up 2nd, and Sebastian Murray could pick up 3rd. What it would mean is that Nakamura Berta would score 4 points for being in 8th position, so he'll gain 4 points on Freddie Slater and Keanu Al-Azari, who will score no points at all, of course. So again, there's a lot of question marks at the moment. No news for you. Essentially, we're just there at the moment. Now, Joshua Wilson asks, if there's no laps under green flags, would points still be awarded? As far as I'm aware, yes, they would. But that is definitely one that we'll need to consult the rule book in a bit more detail. So this is a very tough situation now for both driver and race official. Now, as you can see, there isn't really a patch of dry under the W Hotel. Well, there's a tiny strip where the main thoroughfare is, but by the time the drivers come through, that's going to be just as damp. And that's actually a shadow rather than a dry bit of race circuit. This is such an unusual situation. A sodden, rain-soaked circuit in the United Arab Emirates. It doesn't happen very often. I've known it in Dubai before, but I've certainly never known it at Yas Marina. This is a very unfamiliar territory. So now we'll wait to see what the situation is going to be. Are we going to go under green flag conditions, or are we going to potentially suspend the race? And we'll see what happens. So it's going to be an interesting situation now, as the cars are just trying to find their feet and figure out where the worst parts of the standing water is. Now, of course, the more they run around the circuit in these conditions, the more they exacerbate the standing water on the circuit. Now, Ludro Avaldo wants to know, are they running slicks, inters or wets? There are only two types of tyre in F4 UAE. There is a slick and there is a wet. It is very simple. You can't have an intermediate. There's only two types of tyre. What I will say is that the GT tyres are not used to being run in wet conditions in the UAE. Safety car in this lap. Safety car in this lap. So they clearly feel that after 4 laps out on the circuit, they do have enough knowledge now to go racing. So we are about to find out how tricky this race is going to be. Enzo Ye will lead them off in front of Reza Sawurthan, Sebastian Murray and Gilles Caranta. The drivers know the score. They know how tricky it's going to be in the wet. So now it comes down to wisdom. Stay on the road, ladies and gents. That's the best way to keep yourself A, out of harm's way, and B, with a good result. Maturity, wisdom, discipline, patience, calm. That is what you need at this point. Just take it one corner at a time, folks. You can have a great race, but make sure you bring it home. And they've done a great job on the restart. And here we go. And it is green, 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 green. And immediately, Reza Sawurthan fancies his chances to go for the lead here on Enzo Ye. Not the easiest of starts for Enzo Ye. Sawurthan is right with him, but Sebastian Murray's not far away either. Round the outside, Sawurthan's going to try. Is there going to be enough grip around the outside for the British driver? There is! Reza Sawurthan takes the lead. Absolutely terrific from Reza. So Reza Sawurthan is your leader here at Yas Marina. And now Sebastian Murray for High-Tech is also fancying his chances. Look at the spray. Very difficult to gauge where to place the car. But Gabriel still fancies a go on Matteo Quintarelli. Has to bail out of it. And Dorian Pan getting squeezed there. Wide goes one of the PHM AIX cars. Several drivers trying to go for it now as Enzo Deligny goes wheel to wheel with Rashid Al Daheri. And a big power slide from Alex Powell. But Reza Sawurthan is your race leader. Gilles Caranta fancying a go at Sebastian Murray as Gabriel still goes for it on Matteo Quintarelli. Doesn't have the traction to finish the move. But Reza Sawurthan not hanging around, and he leads here. What an opportunity this is for High-Tech to take their first win of the season. Sebastian Murray hanging on from Caranta. And that's Nakamura Berta dueling with Dion Gauda. So the two Mumbai Falcons having a great race of it. As they go up the hill, Murray still hanging on in front of Caranta, then Quintarelli, then Still. And that's the duel for third position. Rashid Al Daheri having another look at Enzo Deligny. Yellow flag at 15, so something's happened. Not entirely sure what it is at the moment, but it's green flag again, so it's clearly just a spin. That's Quintarelli trying to go on Caranta. They bang wheels, and somehow they survive. And that's going to be Gabriel Still now getting the run on both of them. Has he got into fourth position now? There's Sebastian Murray, and yes, Gabriel Stilp is in fourth. Excellent work from the Brit. At this rate, the High-Tech Pulsate team could eclipse the podium here. Gilles Caranta going wheel to wheel with Quintarelli down to the chicane. This is where things are going to get tricky. Nakamura Berta being patient behind Gilles Caranta as Rashid Al Daheri sorts it out in front of Enzo Deligny. Good driving from the Emirati. So Rashid Al Daheri gets through on Deligny, and now Alex Powell's going to try and repeat the feat. Gilles Caranta taking on Matteo Quintarelli. Down the straight and over the line again they come. And it's High-Tech, 1, 3 and 4 at the moment. Here comes Caranta on Quintarelli. Watch for Nakamura Berta. Nakamura Berta round the outside, and he's overshot. Fortunately, he's got plenty of runoff. But Quintarelli is still dueling with Caranta, and he holds on to it. Nakamura Berta will have to rejoin behind Gauda. So tricky in these conditions, and now Gabriel Stilp is taking on his teammate Sebastian Murray. He wants to go for third position. He was always mighty in the wet in karting, was Gabriel Stilp. It seems as though he's got absolutely the same credence in the wet in cars. Rashid Al Daheri in front of Deligny and Powell. Then Yvan David. The back will rise. He's driving beautifully in the wet. And there's yellow flag at 6. That is the chicane before the final turn. That looks like Alvis Rodella has come into the pits, and so too problems for Liu Kai-shun and Zach Skula. So Zach Skula, Liu Kai-shun and Alvis Rodella in trouble as Gabriel Stilp is now in front of Sebastian Murray. So Stilp is into third. Absolutely terrific driving from the British driver at the moment. Gabriel Still moving up at a third position ahead of Sebastian Murray. And now Still will be setting off after Enzo Ye. So Enzo Ye, the pole sitter. But it's Reza Sawerthan who leads here at Yas Marina in the wet conditions. Then Enzo Ye, then Gabriel Still. And then in fourth place is Sebastian Murray in front of Matteo Quintarelli. Then Gilles Caranta. Then it is Dion Gauda from Kia Nakamura Berta. Although here comes Rashid Aldaheri. In fact, Nakamura Berta's got past Gauda. Aldaheri's done it too. But Gauda has managed to overturn the form and gets back in front of Aldaheri. Look at the spray at Yas Marina. I've never seen it here before. Still Caranta hustling his opposition. This is him dueling with Kia Nakamura Berta now. Nakamura Berta having got the position, but Caranta wants him back. Aldaheri trying to take on Dion Gauda as well. He'll make a late bid on the inside line. There's not a lot of space to play with, but they manage to give each other space. And Aldaheri's got a bit of a slow run off the turn. This could give Enzo Deligny a chance to go for him. So despite a couple of moments, the race can still run to green. 10 minutes and 30 left on the clock. And Caranta dueling with Nakamura Berta. Nakamura Berta will try again here. But Gilles Caranta, very strong indeed in the wet himself. Some great performances. How's it going elsewhere? Well, I can tell you that Keanu Alazari is up to 27th. Freddie Slater is up to 23rd. Nakamura Berta, wheel to wheel with Caranta, trying to go the long way round on the approach to the W Hotel. He bails out. Now he goes for the inside line. Can he make it? He clearly wants to take advantage of the fact that his two main title rivals are not going to score points easily. So Caranta, Nakamura Berta, here comes Aldaheri trying to dive in on Dion Gauda, not going to happen. Alex Powell is next up, then Deligny, then Yvan David. So Yvan David is getting hungry for points. Caranta, Nakamura Berta, Dion Gauda, Aldaheri, and there goes Yvan David on the inside of Enzo Deligny, and despite the power slide, he is still hungry for it. He can't quite finish the move there on Enzo Deligny, but there's so much standing water on the circuit still. It's not getting any drier, the rain is still coming, and apparently it's going to get heavier later today in time for race 3, at least according to my weather report. Dorian Pan is now trying to close up on Yvan David and Enzo Deligny. This can still go anybody's way, as Gabriel Still has set the fastest lap of the race, and he's going faster than anybody out there. 0.6 of a second quicker than the leader in Sector 1, 0.2 quicker in Sector 2, so Gabriel Still is absolutely monstering this in the wet, as there goes the move from Rashid Aldaheri, needs to tidy it up. Dion Gauda still got position round the outside. This isn't done yet, and we're going to see a replay. Oh my goodness! 3 wide on the run to the W Hotel in the wet. Are they mad? No, they're racing drivers. Sebastian Murray still trying to deal with Matteo Quintarelli. Look at how quickly Gabriel Still has caught up to Enzo Ye. He's absolutely flying at the moment. If this race stays green, Gabriel Still is looking good for second, maybe even for the win. So through they come again. Sawerthan, Ye, Still, Murray, Quintarelli, Caranta, Nakamura Berta. Aldaheri has got past Dion Gauda now. And then it's Powell, David and Dorian Pan. Enzo Deligny has fallen to 13th. Chu Yanpu is in 14th place. The Chinese driver, also part of the Mercedes Young Driver Programme, working his way through the field. Now this is going to be slow in, fast out, as Matteo Quintarelli takes the place from Sebastian Murray. And I think Caranta may have got the move there from Nakamura Berta. Nakamura Berta goes wide. Tries to rejoin around the outside. There's no grip at all. Kia Nakamura Berta's going to have to rejoin just in behind Gilles Caranta. Goodness me, Kia Nakamura Berta is not doing things easy. Oh, he's got damage, he's got damage. He's got a puncture. Nakamura Berta in trouble. Nakamura Berta will not score points. Oh my goodness, Kia Nakamura Berta had a golden opportunity to take the lead of the championship in race 2. It's not going to happen. So Nakamura Berta is going to hobble his way back to the pits. And that's a lifeline thrown to Freddie Slater and Keanu Alazari. Look at Nakamura Berta in the background drifting wide as Alex Powell seeks an opportunity on his teammate Dion Gauda. Gauda drifts wide, but he stays on the road. So Alex Powell can't get through. Look at how tricky it is to keep these cars up to speed as Yvan David now tries to take on Alex Powell. He goes one way, he goes the other. But he isn't quite up alongside. Well, very unfortunate indeed for Nakamura Berta, as the championship opponent to both Freddie Slater and Keanu El-Azhari will drop out of the points. He already has, in fact. He's now just limping back to the pits. As there is Jack Beaton having a look, and on the inside that's Lucas Abelisto trying to take on Kamal Murad. Jack Beaton will try and get past both of them. The Australian doing his best to try and work his way through, but Kamal Murad has dealt nicely with Lucas Abelisto on the undercut. Down to the chicane again, and still masses of spray. This is borderline now. Here comes Deegan Fairclough, charging through the field like a missile in Mario Kart. Doing his best now to take on Abelisto. He's on the curbs, he's going to run very wide. He is so lucky that he could catch that before he found the wall. Now Alex Powell, wheel to wheel with Dion Gowder, as both men are behind Van David, and David could box them in here. This is going to be brave from Gowder. Van David is now piggy in the middle. Around the far side goes Alex Powell. He's going to drift wide. They're all going to go wide. And that's going to be perfect for Dorian Pan. Dorian Pan will take on all three drivers. But she's only going to stay in front of two of them. As it looks to me as though, was that Alex Powell able to catch it round the outside? Yes, it was. And now Dion Gowder going to try and take on Dorian Pan again. Oh, the back end stepping out. But somehow managing to hold it. And here comes Van David, who also power slides his way to the inside of Gowder now as well. Not past Dorian Pan. But as they get on the throttle, you've got to be so gingerly. You've got to be so tentative on that throttle in these conditions. And Deegan Fairclough has had an incident with Jack Beaton by the look of it. So Fairclough and Beaton have come together. Puncture for Nakamura Berta. He's in the pits, but I'm fairly sure that Deegan Fairclough has gone around. Yes, he has. They spin-turn the cars and get going again. So Beaton and Fairclough spinning around, but they keep going. We're not going to need a safety car. That's good. It's not good for Beaton or Fairclough, but it's good for us. Here's Stilp. He's caught and passed Enzo Ye, and now he's going to take on his teammate for the lead of the race. Stilp is going to go the long way round. How does Gabriel Stilp has this massive confidence in the wet? He's just relentless. I keep mentioning this man as the Gilles Villeneuve of karting. He's the Gilles Villeneuve of F4 UAE. There's the clumsiness between Beaton and Fairclough. Tough to know who was at fault. Oh, how close was that for Max Popov? He almost went straight into the back of them. Well, now Stilp has got plenty of time here to go for Reza Sawirthan. And Alex Powell is under investigation for overtaking beyond track limits with advantage. That's going to be on Dorian Pan, I think. So Alex Powell, who's moved up to 9th position, I think he could be under investigation for that. 4 minutes to go. 2 minutes 17 lap times, and Gabriel Stilp is all over the back of his teammate Reza Sawirthan. Looks like we could get a high-tech 1-2, but in which order? Stilp is definitely going quicker than Reza Sawirthan. Sawirthan just did a 2:17.1. Stilp just did a 2:16.0. He's a second a lap quicker, but he's got to time it right. You can see it's still raining here at Marina. A very different situation here. The leaders of the championship are really struggling to get to the points. Keanu El-Azhari is now currently 16th. Freddie Slater's 19th, so Slater's had an incident somewhere. Although they're both gaining positions, El-Azhari somehow got ahead of him. Meanwhile, Al-Daheri in front of Jules Caranta as they duel for 6th position. Then Powell, then Gowder, then Dorian Pan on the final points position. Looks like Jules Caranta's got damage to his car. Still going for the lead on Sawirthan, and he's taken it. Gabriel Stilp takes the lead from his teammate Reza Sawirthan, and now the high-techs are going to go side by side down the Formula One straight. This is an exciting moment for both men. A real feather in the cap. But Gabriel Stilp will hold the lead, and Stilp has hit the front in his first F4 UAE lead in 2024 here at Yas Marina in the wet. Keep an eye on Gabriel Stilp in the future, boys and girls. This guy could teach you a few things. I've been very privileged and proud to talk about him in his karting exploits in the past. Here comes Keanu El-Azhari. He dives in on Lucas Abelisto. He's looking very good to get back into the points. Even if he scores 4 or 5 points here, well, 4 or 6 points if he gets to 8th or 7th, he'll take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. So for El-Azhari, this is absolutely a heaven-sent opportunity. They haven't got a lot of time left to play with, but if El-Azhari can just keep finding speed, keep finding pace, keep finding this incredible opportunity, he runs wide of the hairpin, but then so does nearly everybody else. So difficult to find grip at Yas Marina in the wet. This is not a circuit that's used to downpours. Don't forget, this is the middle of the desert, essentially. It is coastal, but it is in the desert. So it's very unusual to have such rainfall here. Let's have a look at the move from Still. Full of conviction, determination, confidence, full send. That's Gabriel Still all over. Brilliant move. Now there's Thomas Stolchemanis dueling away as he tries to work his way forward. That appears to be Rafael Narak that he's dueling with in the Santalock. And there's Freddie Slater in the 27. So Freddie Slater and Thomas Stolchemanis going to wheel to wheel. It's like karting all over again. But Slater's going to get a run round the outside here. Both Al-Azhari and Slater fighting to get back into the points to take the upper hand in the championship going into race 3, especially for Keanu Al-Azhari, considering that Slater is due to start race 3 from 21st after going off in qualifying 2. So there's a long game here to play. And unfortunately for Kia Nakamura Berta, he now finds himself out of the race, down at the back of it with no points. So last night, when he was looking like the new championship leader, suddenly he's a dozen points back from Freddie Slater. It's looking like his opportunity to take the title lead away from both men is now gone. Slater slowing. Thomas Stolchemanis trying to get back on top of him. I wonder if that was just a cautious inside line from Freddie Slater rather than a problem with the car. But he's certainly not quite able to match Rafael Narak at that point. So Slater, 17th position, not good enough for points at the moment. Keanu Al-Azhari, 14th, also not good enough for points. As Dorian Pan goes to battle with Dion Gouda for 9th position. And the 2 points that would go with it. Dorian Pan looking confident. Dion Gouda slightly tentative. But Gabriel Still has just set the fastest lap of the race with clear track in front of him. What's happened with one of the pinnacles? We're seeing a replay. Oh, and that's what's happened with the pinnacle. That's a little further along. That's the 88 gone around. That's Kai Darianani. So Kai Darianani has had a problem at the W Hotel, and I believe kept going. And there's damage to one of the XL cars. That is Thiago Rodriguez. So Thiago Rodriguez is missing a front wing. In these conditions, you can probably carry on without one, without it causing too much of an issue. The time has run down to 0. Gabriel Still goes into the final lap. And this is an absolute masterclass of wet weather prowess from Gabriel Still. What a performance. So it looks to me as though Gabriel Still, the British driver who's not had much of an opportunity yet to showcase what he can do, is doing just that, wrestling against the elements here at Yas Marina in torrential conditions, and that is Everett Stack, the American, having problems with his front wing, and I think he's going to park it. Yes, indeed, that is down at the hairpin, so Everett Stack parks the car. What's happened to him? Oh, he's spun a long way in. That's a frightening incident for Everett Stack. I wonder if he just caught the curb on the way at the wrong angle and it spat him out. Well, Gabriel Still is on the last lap, so I don't think we're going to need safety car anyway, because Everett was very mature there and drove it to the marshal post. Look at Gabriel Still. He's just disappeared ahead of his teammate Reza Sawerthan. But then Gabriel Still was always a master in the wet. Two-time Miami World Final winner in back-to-back years. One in Adria, one at Le Mans. And a fabulous contender. Look at Jules Caranta's front wing. It's dragging on the floor, but it's not causing too many performance defects in the wet conditions. He's still able to hang on in there in front of Alex Powell. But Gabriel Still and the High-Tech Pulsate team are about to get a rare victory, and they will enjoy it. I say a rare victory, not for High-Tech Pulsate, but certainly in F4 UAE 2024. They've not had the pace to do it yet, but in the wet, it's the ultimate equaler, and the talent is what comes through. And Gabriel Still has been in exactly the right position to take advantage, as Dorian Pan tries again on Dion Gouda, and Enzo Deligny has fought his way back into 11th in front of Yvan David, Chuyan Bu, and Keanu Al-Azhari. So the battle is going to go all the way to the end of the race for Alex Powell and Jules Caranta. Powell gets the move, but Jules Caranta might get him on the switch. Out in front, though, here is Gabriel Still. An absolute masterclass from the Englishman. He is such an amazing young talent. Not much has been written about him in cars yet, but I promise you, this is chapter 1 of an absolute novel of thrill-fest drives from Gabriel Still. He comes out of the final turn. Gabriel Still dominates at Yas Marina in the wet for High-Tech Pulsate. What a euphoric moment for the Brit. Stunning, absolutely stunning. And there's Sebastian Murray racing to the line with Rashid El Nahiri in their battle. battle for 5th position. Seb Murray comes home for P5, his best result of the season. Reza Sawurthan in 2nd, his best. Oh no! That is Gouda and Yvan David. So Dion Gouda and Yvan David have come together on the final lap, and that's dropped them a long way down the field. Gouda's not going to carry on. Yvan David is going to get home, I believe. But on the very final lap, it's all gone wrong for Gouda and David. But this man, Gabriel Stilp, has marched his way to the win. His teammate Reza Sawurthan, oh, there's the damage to Yvan David's car, no wonder. So I think we're going to see potentially a replay of that. But Yvan David is okay. The bat rises out of the car, but that's not the way he wanted to end his race. But Gabriel Stilp and Reza Sawurthan, the high-tech pulsate British boy wonders, have absolutely cleaned up here. A podium for Enzo Ye in 3rd, Matteo Quintarelli in 4th, Sebastian Murray in 5th. A lot of feel-good stories in the top 5 of this one. Rashid Al-Daheri in a valiant P6, best of the established guard, if you will. Alex Powell in 7th place. Jules Carranza is 8th. Enzo Deligny is 9th. And the final point goes the way of Dorian Bain, who did such a good job to take the win yesterday. Wow, what a race. We may have had to wait 4 laps for it to get going, but boy oh boy was it worth the wait. And Gabriel Stilp shows the world, if you need a wet weather master in the future, just take one look at me. I'm ready. He drove that race like a master, never mind a rookie. Absolutely terrific. Stilp just had the confidence, he had the bite, and absolutely astonishing. Gabriel Stilp, from P6 on the grid, able to work his magic and lead home a high-tech pulsate 1-2. In fact, 3 high-tech pulsates in the top 5. Sebastian Murray doing a great job, so too Reza Sawurthan, but none quite as strong as Gabriel Stilp. Throw some water on a racetrack, it doesn't matter what car you give Gabriel Stilp, he will deliver. Now everybody knows that in the wet, you need a Stilp. So there is Yvan David's car, it's at the final chicane. They came as close as the final bend to finishing the race, Dion Gouda and Yvan David, but they couldn't get it done. What a drive from Gabriel Stilp. A very good run as well from Reza Sawurthan. Let's not count him out. He's done a terrific job as well. But just a stunning, astonishing performance from the high-tech pulsate man. Excellent work. And it's a real plethora of firsts in this top 5. In pit road, Gabriel Stilp and Reza Sawurthan are absolutely delighted, but the winner of the race, Gabriel Stilp, has done the business in fantastic fashion. What a drive. Epic race, epic job. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, is going to be the first of many. For Reza Sawurthan, a fabulous 2nd position as well. We're going to talk you through the highlights of an absolute epic. What a great result for Gabriel Stilp and Reza Sawurthan. The highlights of the race are currently playing out, but what an absolute plethora of excitement.
say, an absolute barnstormer of a race. Thrilling action, amazing encounters. Gabriel Stilp coming through for the win in front of Reza Sawerthan and Enzo Ye. Matteo Quintarelli fourth in front of Sebastian Murray. Brilliant top 5 finish for all drivers in the top 5. They all deserve to be there. Rashid Al-Daheri in P6, Alex Powell in P7 from Gilles Caranta, Enzo Deligny and Dorian Pain taking the final point in that one, and that means that in the championship fight, it is completely unchanged. None of the top 3 drivers in the standings, Freddie Slater, Keanu Al-Azari or Kia Nakamura Berta, essentially came away with points, and that means it's all square and still stalemate heading into race 3 later today. So many cars under investigation as well after such a tough race out there. But one man stands supreme above them all, and in fabulous style as well. Gabriel Stilp of the High-Tech Pulsate team will come through to collect the trophies for his first victory in F4 UAE. Absolutely brilliant. So it's going to be a very tough race to sort out for the officials. Fortunately, they've got about 4 hours before the next race to try and figure everything out. But it's certainly been an exciting and an eventful one. So to the podium comes Enzo Ye, 3rd position for him. An excellent run for the Race GP competitor. From pole position, he kept his nerve, very quietly got on with the job. A lot of others might have cracked under the strain. He may have lost 2 places, but he didn't lose the podium. Reza Sawerthan, 2nd position for the High-Tech Pulsate team. That's a big, big moment for him, considering as well that he's got half of Bournemouth here celebrating with him here this weekend at Yas Marina. Excellent performance. For the race win, going to Gabriel Stilp with an absolute masterclass drive in the wet. What a moment for him. Absolutely superb. This is going to be such a moment for the team. Absolutely terrific. Great to see this podium. It's wonderful to see all 3 drivers up there for the very first time. It'll be Stuart Latham, the Motorsport Senior Manager at Yas Motorsport Management, who will present the trophies to our drivers. And in very fine style too. What a great result. That was a seriously exciting motor race out there for all of our contenders. And we certainly got a really exciting battle out there on the course. Enzo Ye, the Chinese-Italian, grabbing a trophy there in fine style in 3rd position. And a 1-2 for High-Tech Pulsate. For Reza Sawerthan, what a result for him in 2nd place. Excellent performance. And a great win for Gabriel Stilp in the wet. A flamboyant and almost effortless drive. And the rookie trophy going the way of Reza Sawerthan. Excellent performance for him. That was a very different motor race, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? As far as the championship fight is concerned, it's all stalemate and all square. But we had an absolute thriller of a wet race in the middle. Gabriel Stilp and Reza Sawerthan charging their way through to the front. Enzo Ye holding on for a solid podium and some great battles throughout. Remember that one. It's going to go down in history as the drivers get busy with the fizzy on the UAE podium here in F4 UAE. They've got another race to come in 4 hours. And that's when the championship decider will continue in earnest between Keanu Al-Azari, Freddie Slater and Kia Nakamura Berta. Who will be the championship leader after race 3? Join us in a few hours to find out. I'm Jake Sanson. Thanks for being with us. There's more on the way.